Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Lori. So, welcome everyone. I know we have a smaller group in person today, and others will be able to view the recording. So, we can keep this a little bit conversational. So, feel free if you have questions at any point in time to throw them in the chat or even come off mute as you prefer and as you wish. Um, my name is Madison Sowards, and I am on our community team at MassChallenge. I've been with the company for almost 3 years now, so I've seen everything from our in-person programming all to where we have ended up today, um, kind of coming into a hybrid model now, which I'll talk a little bit more about. MassChallenge is the global network for innovators. So that pretty much means that, like what Laurie does at Northeastern, we also are conduits for organizations, whether that be corporate, government, academic, to connect and work with innovators and entrepreneurs that are solving real world and sustainable um, solutions to real world problems. I'll get into a little bit more of what that means in a bit, but by a show of hands, who here is familiar with MassChallenge already? Or have people heard of it? Okay, awesome. Great. Well, we'll do kind of an overall overview. I know I have Bharavi here with me, who's actually one of our alum with Persist Energy, who will talk a little bit about his experience at the virtual program last year, who is also a Northeastern alum. So close ties there. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and tell you a little bit about what we do at MassChallenge, the different types of programs, and the global reach that we have. I'll go a little bit more into depth about our upcoming US early stage program, since we do have a cycle open right now for that. But I do want to let you know of all the different types of programming and structures that we offer. So let me go ahead and throw this into presentation mode and then share my screen for you all. Oh, I might not be able to do that right now. I'm not sure who the host is, but I think I still might need permissions to share my screen. I can also talk through some things too.
Go ahead and try right now. If not, I think
Oh, awesome.
Chloe's the host, so I think she has the
Perfect.
I just made you as co-host. Hopefully that helps.
Awesome. It works now. Great. So I already mentioned that we're the global network for innovators, and it's really MassChallenge's mission to help entrepreneurs disrupt the status quo to create meaningful global change. As a global network, we were founded in 2009, and we accelerate the most startups in the world each year through a global network of highly selective, zero equity programs and accelerators. So for those of you who are familiar with accelerators and incubators, one thing that sets MassChallenge apart is that we don't take any equity from startups. We actually don't even have an application fee anymore. We completely waived that this year because it's really our mission to support founders who are solving real world challenges. And we want to provide resources and access to any founders from anywhere around the world so that they're able to grow and scale their business. A lot of other accelerators, incubators do take an equity or do have a fee associated with it, which is one big difference with MassChallenge programs. Across all of our programs, we accelerate over 500 high potential startups each year. And that high potential piece is something that we look for in our judges look for in our evaluation process of, is this a startup that has potential to create real world change and grow and scale successfully? We are a nonprofit organization, so we actually work with a network of corporate, government, and academic partners to help fund and sponsor our programs so that we can provide these resources at no cost to founders. So we have a network of over 100 of those corporate partners that work with us to help run these programs and support entrepreneurs. Those range from everywhere from local banks all the way to large corporations. So those partners work with MassChallenge, but also with startups. They host office hours, demo days, and in some of our other models, they actually work one-on-one with startups throughout the program to solve mutual challenges within the industry. And I'll touch on that in a bit as well. We're also backed by over 4,000 experts globally. We really believe that MassChallenge is rooted in community and that we can't do what we do without a network of experts supporting the founders and providing insights and sounding boards and resources to founders to help them grow and scale. And experts take shape in different ways. Some of them volunteer as mentors to mentor one-on-one with founders throughout the duration of a program. Some of them offer their time and expertise as speakers. So we run a curriculum series as part of all of our programs where we invite speakers to come in, share about a topic of interest that's specific to early stage founders, or might be specific to an industry. And they also can take form in the judge process. So all of our applications are not judged by MassChallenge staff, but rather this network of experts will come in and help judge applications, provide actionable feedback, and help us evaluate whether your problem and solution is a high impact and high potential scalable startup. We have a global reach. We have been using the term actually globally connected and globally accessible, but locally relevant. So we have startups that apply to our programs from over 50 countries. Well, applying is a little bit different. We have ones that participate from over 50. And you can actually see from this map here, just the reach that we have in the regions that we've seen startups in our programs. We have here on this map, you can see our 8 different locations. They are 5 in the US, which is Boston, Rhode Island, Austin, Houston, and North Texas, located in Dallas. And then we also have 3 international program locations in Switzerland, Israel, and Mexico. And these are places where we have a local community of support and a team that is there and ready to support entrepreneurs in that local market. So though our startups can come from anywhere, we have very strategically placed our staff in local markets that have a budding ecosystem of entrepreneurship and innovation, and have a network of community in that area to support those startups. We were founded in Boston. Fun fact, MassChallenge is not Massachusetts Challenge. A lot of people assume that. I think our founders had a little hint of a dual meaning there, but it actually stands for massive challenges because we're supporting global founders who are looking to solve massive challenges. And we support across all industries as well. So we categorize 5 high-level categories of high tech, healthcare, life sciences, general, social impact, and that energy and clean tech, which in recent years has actually been morphing into climate tech, which has been a very interesting change that we've been noticing. And like I said, our judges vet all of our applications. They really are the drivers to helping make these founders into really high success founders with their businesses. And we actually end up seeing less than 10% acceptance rate from the point of applications into our programs, 2 rounds of judging, and then the actual beginning of the program. We have 3 main types of programs at MassChallenge. The first of those is our US early stage program, which is available in all 8 of our office locations. I think I said US early stage. We have an early stage program. One of those is in the US, which is the one that I focus on most specifically. But those early stage models are industry agnostic. They are 4-month programs, which focus on giving early stage startups the tools and resources that they need to grow their business. This I'll go into depth a little bit more later on, but it includes curriculum, focus goal setting, peer connections, mentorship, demo days, showcases, and all of the exciting resources that come with starting a business at the early stage. And we define early stage as less than 1 million in funding and less than 2 million in annual revenue. So it's a little bit that pricing can vary depending on industry, and we're flexible in that, but the term early stage can mean so many things, and that's kind of the marker that we have established for those programs. The other type of program that we have is our challenge program, which we have in the healthcare, health tech, and fintech categories. These challenge programs are designed for slightly later stage companies, but still those who are maybe in the Series A window. We define that as around less than 10 million in funding raised, less than 10 million in annual revenue. But again, those numbers can sometimes vary, but that's our big maximum mile marker. And in these programs, we have some of those partners that I mentioned volunteer as champions and put forth challenge statements from their industry. And startups are invited to apply to meet those challenges. So it's a judging process that's actually more one-on-one to see if the startup solution can meet the challenges put forth by these partner champion organizations. Those partners will pick 1 to 5 startups to work with throughout the 5-month program to work to develop a pilot type of scenario to meet the challenges of that particular organization or in the industry that they are in. Those programs run January through end of May, with the finale being actually the first week in June this year. So that program is actually already underway. The applications will open up again in September for the 2023 program. The final type of program that MassChallenge hosts is our Bridge to MassChallenge programs, which you can actually kind of see indicated here on this map. Oops, I forwarded a little too quickly. All of these little icons here are places that we've set up what we call Bridge to MassChallenge programs. And these are international programs that we work with local governments and corporate entities to evaluate the ecosystem and the needs of entrepreneurs in that ecosystem. And then we build a network of support and a competition or boot camp, if you will, to help support founders based on those needs. So one example is we actually just concluded a program in Korea with the Korean Innovation Center to mentor 12 startups in the healthcare and life sciences space. So there were startups that applied to that, a judging process, they were accepted, and then we matched them with mentors. So those are our 3 main types of programs. The bridge programs are very specific to different countries, whereas the health tech, fintech, and then early stage programs are globally accessible, but tend to be rooted in one of our 8 locations that we have offices set up in. And at MassChallenge, we really make it our mission to be the network for all founders. And we're really focused on supporting a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive entrepreneurial ecosystem. It is no secret to anyone who is in the innovation ecosystem that it has a history of not being very equitable. And we kind of define this in a few different pillars: founders' identity, the funding gaps that are that exist across the industry, the geographical accessibility to programs and resources, and different types of industry relevance for founders and which industries tend to get more funding than others. These are a few statistics from our program for a US early stage that we hosted last year. And in the effort of transparency, we think it's important to reveal these numbers to see what we are seeing in trends across the ecosystem and specifically through the programs and the founders that we're working with. And so, as you can see here, we had 48% of our startups had at least one female founder, 47% had at least one BIPOC founder, and 17% were headquartered outside of the US. And then there's also the industry breakdown across those 5 categories. And these numbers are always changing, and we always recognize that we have so much more work to be done to create a more equitable ecosystem for founders. But we do what we can to make sure that our programs are inclusive for all. And one other key part of the MassChallenge programs are these 3 different benefits that founders that we've talked to who've gone through our programs really highlights as the type of support that they were looking for through MassChallenge and the type that they received. And they come down into 3 different categories. MassChallenge is community powered. So we work with our local communities, which is comprised of those experts, community organizations, universities, nonprofits that are all willing and able to support founders And that also includes investors and CVC branches as well that we work with. And we put community at the forefront of all that we do at MassChallenge because there's such power in that connection. And that community is globally relevant, but locally grounded, like I mentioned before, in one of our 8 locations. And that ties into our global network. Because we have such a wide global reach, our experts aren't located in just one of our 8 locations. They have global relevance and are breaking down those geographical barriers that used to exist through now the hybrid and virtual models that we put forth. And this last piece of own your own success, through our MassChallenge programs, we do not require 100% participation in our programs, but rather a chart your own path approach. We help founders assess where they are in their journey, make really focused goals that they want to accomplish throughout the time of their program, and then work with them to match them with mentors, experts, and resources to help them meet those goals during their time. Some founders come into our early stage programs at a very early stage where they have an idea and a business plan, but they're still working out their logistics. So we help them set up a program that is specific to them, what their needs are and what goals they're trying to reach by the end of the program. So that might be engaging in curriculum, it might be meeting with investors, it might be participating in some demo days, or it might be watching any and all of the curriculum that we have to help early stage founders learn and grow from experts in our network. And I want to dive in a little bit more to this early stage program because this is the one that's coming up for us. We have applications open now through April 20th, and it is an entirely virtual program that is industry agnostic and for early stage startups across all industries. And this program takes form in a few different ways. So the program will begin in July 11th specifically. And the first 3 months of this 4-month program is centered around providing live seminars and workshops, connecting you with investors, matching you with mentors who are there to help support you, identifying your goals and helping you reach those. You will also have access to in-kind deals and discounts that we have negotiated with organizations to help get your feet off the ground with lower costs. We also offer a digital curriculum library. So all of our live seminars and workshops are recorded and they're timed usually at a time that is accessible to people in different locations. Since we are global for this program, we try to keep them as timely as possible. But in the case that founders aren't able to make those sessions, we record all of them and upload them to this digital curriculum library, which also means that you have access to recorded curriculum from all of our previous programs as well. So if you really want to dive in on a topic, we have a library of resources for you. And that peer-to-peer connection is so important. You have the opportunity to connect with peers both in your cohort as well as our network of over 3,000 alumni who have gone through the programs before, who are willing and able to share their learnings, successes, and failures with you. So those first 3 months of the early stage program are really focused in getting to know how to do certain tasks across certain verticals like marketing, sales, team and operations, etc. And after those 3 months, we want you to be able to activate all that you've learned. So that 4th month is October, and we are introducing a new program that we call the Market Access Program, which in the US means that in the month of October, founders have the opportunity to travel to one or any of our 5 US locations to interact with the local resources, experts, investors, and partners in that region. That is not a requirement if folks aren't able to travel, but it is an opportunity in case a founder is really looking to learn more about the healthcare and life sciences industry in Boston or the space ecosystem in Houston, that there is a platform and opportunity to do so. And I mentioned that these programs are virtual, but there are some other in-person components throughout those 4 months, which falls into our residency program. Founders in the 2022 cohort will be able and have the opportunity to take residence in one of our 5 US locations for the duration of their program. This means that they will have an assigned desk and will be able to leverage the resources in one of our 5 US offices to meet with key players in the local market. So there's a lot of advantages to the US early stage program that's coming up in this summer cycle. And I just want to touch a little bit on how we work with our partners and sponsors. I've mentioned this briefly, but because we're a nonprofit, we really rely on our network of partners and sponsors to support early stage founders. And we often will facilitate a strategic exposure for these startups in our programs to collaborate with corporate enterprises. Sometimes that may be their CVC branch, sometimes that might be a network of experts from the field that can help support startups. And just a few ways that we do that, we work with them to identify their innovation strategy and match them with founders and startup solutions that might meet those innovation goals. We offer several pitch events and invite startups to pitch in-person or virtual pitch events to gain exposure to several of our partners and sponsors at once. And a lot of times these will include our investor network as well. And then we have some personalized demo days for each of our corporate partners with innovation strategies. So startups will be invited to participate in those personal and private demo day sessions with our corporate partner network. Corporate partners will also offer office hours to drop in and get to meet them, learn more about their goals, use them as a sounding board for any ideas. And they also often offer discounted services or access to resources that they have through their network. And this goes for all of our 3 different types of programs at MassChallenge. The vertical programs, which are also called the challenge programs in health tech and fintech, they work with those corporate partners in more of a pilot capacity to work one-on-one with the startups. And I want to stop there too, because I think we've covered quite a bit. Actually, I am going to jump to one more. Oh, sorry, there's one more slide I did want to cover. We've worked with MIT over the past several years to analyze the impact that MassChallenge has had across the startups that we've worked with. And we have over 3,000 alumni globally to date. And in assessing where they have been, we found, and the progress that they've made afterwards, we have found that startups that participate in MassChallenge are 2.5 times more likely to raise at least $500K in funding and 3 times more likely to reach at least 15 employees after our program and after completing the program. And we consider this to be the MassChallenge advantage and one of the primary reasons folks join our programs. And of those 3,000 alumni, 48% of them had at least one female founder, which we think is a really important mile marker in just the diversity and our commitment to diversity across programs. And last thing that I will mention, 4 months is a really quick time for a US early stage program. 5 to 6 months is a really short time also for our vertical programs. But we like to think of our programs as not confined just to those short periods of time. Once a startup has gone through one of our MassChallenge programs, we continue to work with them to build lasting connections as they become alumni. Many come back to be an expert to help judge or work with startups as a mentor after the program. We also continue to keep up with our startup success. We actually had one of our 2019 startups, Conbody, who was just on the Ellen DeGeneres show. We just also had one of our 2018 startups, Behave Bras, who was on Shark Tank just about a month ago. So we really keep up with the successes that our startups go through, and we cheer you on and continue to connect alumni with resources through the MassChallenge network, even beyond just that structured program time. And you can see here, these are some quotes that we actually gathered from some of our alumni who really feel that MassChallenge was the catalyst for them in their company's growth, and the different impacts that MassChallenge has had through the fundamentally better company after going through MassChallenge, refining their strategy, It says that we helped them realize they have a human capital bottleneck. And we also offer some prize money at the end of our programs as well to help accelerate startups. And that prize money is a competition model where startups have the opportunity to compete for zero equity cash prizes, sponsored by both MassChallenge and our partner network. And now I will stop here because I know I just said a lot, and I'm sure you have questions for me. But I'm actually going to hand it over to Bharavi to talk a little bit more about his experience in MassChallenge through the US early stage that he participated in last summer, to talk about his founder journey, his experience in MassChallenge, and just the growth that he's had with Persist Energy over the past few months. And then afterwards, we'd love to open it up and leave time for any questions you might have about MassChallenge or about the founder journey going through any of our programs. Bharavi, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Can you guys hear me? Am I audible? All right, perfect. So great to be in this meeting, which is a subset of both MassChallenge and Northeastern University, my alma mater. Right, it's happy to be here. So I feel like MassChallenge was a great experience for me, right? Before I was in MassChallenge, the whole thing started where like I studied entrepreneurship at Northeastern University in the School of Business, right? And then during my time there, I used to go for venture cafe Thursdays, right? And then also explore MassChallenge. Sometimes I went to a couple of demo days. And when I was there, I thought that when I started startup, it would be nice if I was incubated at MassChallenge, right? And I think so that's the point where I applied to MassChallenge. It feels good that I got in eventually and also won an award from MassChallenge. So it feels great. That's my journey. But before that, I was actually part of IDEA as well, Venture Accelerator at Northeastern University, which is a great venture accelerator, I should say, as well. But then, through IDEA, I went through certain stages. Right? I think so. IDEA Venture Accelerator was exactly what the name is. Like it changed our idea into a early stage startup, and that's exactly when I had applied to MassChallenge, right? And what I really like about MassChallenge is that I think so. It's only probably one of the only venture accelerator programs where when you apply, you actually get feedback, right? Even though you don't get in, you get feedback. That's really great. I don't know which venture accelerator does that, but that's really very, very helpful, honestly, guys. Let's say you apply for some venture accelerator program, and even though you don't get in, I mean, like there's multiple rounds, but you get feedback at each and every round, right? Whoever looked at your application, they leave you the feedback with respect to what you need to work on in terms of your startup. And MassChallenge also provides you information, minor information with respect to who gave that feedback. Let's say if an investor gave that feedback, it says that an investor gave that feedback, right? It mentions the designation, which is really helpful because you're able to also understand who is from what perspective they're giving that advice, right? So I think so that is one of the things which I feel is really helpful. Whether you get into the program or not, you should definitely apply for it, specifically because it's free of cost. Madison, you're getting a lot of applications this time, right? So you'll get a lot of feedback. So I think so that's very valuable to start with, right? And I feel like the whole experience is really good in the way that, as is their tagline, that it's the world's friendliest venture accelerator. It truly is, right? They give you really good feedback. And once you start applying for the programs, when you join the program, as she was saying, right, typically there is Tuesdays and Thursdays where you have your curriculum days, right? And then you have the office hours and so on. I like the fact that MassChallenge is like a platform, right? MassChallenge is a platform upon which, as she says, you own your own success, right? When you join MassChallenge, there's a document they send you which asks you that you stay true to your own purpose. That when you're given this opportunity, you actually take it and then convert it into value, right? Now that's your job as a founder, and I feel that's where MassChallenge plays a great role. They provide you access to so many mentors, so many deals. Unfortunately, we are not a US-based startup, but if you're a US-based startup, the kind of in-kind deals you get is really phenomenal. Like you get so many services that you get given to you, like in terms of like banking services, in terms of like equity crowdfunding, and many other services. You get hosting services, a lot of these, right? It really helps you get off the ground to start with, right? I think so that's really valuable. I wish I were in US because there's so much more I would have used in terms of the in-kind deals. And the mentor pool is just amazing, guys. And honestly, like when we're working on our product, we build electric vehicles, right? Persist Energy built utility electric vehicles for developing nations. We are working on increasing the adoption of electric vehicles in developing nations because that is where there is a growing need for transportation, growing greenhouse gas emissions from transportation, right? We are making electric vehicles practical, because just sustainability is not going to sell electric vehicles in developing nations. We're making them practical, right? I feel like MassChallenge was a great fit for us. And right from day one, it was really exciting for us, where we set our own goals. They provide you a map, which is called the MassChallenge map, where it's essentially like a typical map where you check where you are. There's 4 stages, and you sort of try to look at that map and see where you are currently. And what I also like is that while in each of those stages, there is a set of things that you need to have a clarity upon for you to be able to progress on to the next stage. So though you feel like in some places you have progressed to the next stage, and in some areas probably you're not, you don't have as much clarity. Right? It helps you assess that and try to cover up where you have a gap. It helps you cover up where you have a gap, where you don't have clarity, so that you can truly progress to the next stage. Right? And they also provide you a template where you chart your goals in terms of, it's the OKR framework, where you put down your objectives and your results, and so that you can track your goals through the program. Right? It's a 4-month program. It takes a good amount of time for me, but I could say that it's worth it. Like for me, it was a bit tough because I used to be awake till 4 a.m. every day for an entire 4 periods of month. So I live in India, but then I was working in Boston time, for the entire 4 months. But I feel like it was very worth it for me. Especially in the starting, we had many seminars about how to build a team, and also about inclusivity, right? And about how you understand yourself as a founder. Right? I feel like that's really important, where they provide you a platform to be able to realize who you are as a founder and what do you expect from your own journey. Right? I feel like if you don't have that clarity, there is no way you're going to be able to chart the growth of your startup. I feel like that is a good place, where that is a good amount of knowledge that MassChallenge gives you. On the top of that, apart from the classes or curriculum that you go through, you also have something called pods, where you are teamed with other founders that are probably in the same segment as you, or in the same growth level as you, or in the same industry, and you all can get together, and it's like your own space where you share what your challenges are, and you try to seek, let's say it's like your own anonymous group. It's like Entrepreneurs Anonymous. Right? You go there and you share your problems, and you try to get some support what you can. I feel like it's really good there. You find a lot of people, and I feel like people who in general who get selected for MassChallenge, I found that the community has been really great. And there's many great people. We've had Rachel, we've had Madison, we've had, and I have talked about Kate, right? Like Kate Brummy, the CEO of MassChallenge. She's really motivational. I really like whenever she comes to one of our calls, I feel like, like I end up leaving the call very motivated. He instills us with a lot of inspiration, right? So I really like the people in MassChallenge. I feel like they give you that sort of positivity that you're a part of something, and it gives you that sort of sense to cope up with what you are going through, is what I would say. Right? As startup entrepreneurs, we go through a lot of challenges, and I feel that is where MassChallenge gives you a good platform, right? There's platforms like Y Combinator and then MassChallenge. Right? I feel like these are apart, because while both of them are focusing on growth of the startup, I feel like while Y Combinator focuses on a different sort of growth, MassChallenges focus on a more holistic sort of growth process, where they're looking at founders and how can founders build themselves inside out so that they can build better startups. I feel that's what MassChallenge focuses upon essentially, and I feel they do a great job at it. Right? I've been lucky to be part of Idea and also MassChallenge, where I felt like I've gotten really good support. And honestly, our startup has been entirely funded with grants. Right? I got $15,000 from Northeastern Idea, which was funded us, and also luckily I was able to win the MassChallenge Gold Award, which is worth $25,000. And I think that this is what has sustained us for the past 3 years. Honestly, we just been living on grants. So I feel lucky to have gotten this. And through the process of 4 months, it's not like you're just going through curriculum, right? There's stage gate where you go through multiple pitching opportunities. At first, you're a finalist, where it is like you're an applicant when you apply to MassChallenge, and there's 2 rounds in that, and for each round you get feedback. And then once you enter the program, you go through a few curriculums, you start getting into a structure where you on a Tuesday you have something, on a Thursday you have something. It becomes like a very intrinsic part of your schedule, right? And then 2 months down the line, you have furthermore rounds where you actually become a top finalist. Right? In my cohort, we had 229 finalists, and among 229 finalists, 45 top finalists were selected. Right? Now, these 45 top finalists can get a chance to pitch for the cash award, the equity free grant. Right? So you get a chance to pitch for that award, and I feel it's a great experience. understanding how you stand out in this whole ecosystem, right? There's startups of various growth level and startups with really great ideas. Honestly, I mean, it's really like, we are lucky to have made it so far because there's such amazing startups around you, and all of them have big funds, right? And when we were in the cohort, we were essentially just pre-revenue, and there's companies that's made more revenue than money that's gone into our startup, right? So it's been wonderful experience being in this mixed pool, and definitely taught us a lot, right, through the curriculum. And the other thing that I really felt helped us was the mentor pool, right? You get your own mentors, which you get 7 days after you start the program to choose your main mentors who work with you throughout the program. And then you also get a chance to talk to any mentor. I still have access to all the mentor lists whom I can still access. I feel it's a great lifetime opportunity, honestly. Whatever startup you work on, you still have access to this mentors, right? And for example, we work on our product, which is an electric vehicle, and we got to talk to a NASA fracture analysis engineer, which really helped us build our product, like to improve the product. I feel like it's a very amazing resource, the mentors. And what is nice is that it's not just there while they're not necessarily bound to help you out. When they know that you're part of MassChallenge, there is a certain respect they have for the startup that you are in, and also they also tend to spend more time with you. I would say I feel like any mentor that's part of MassChallenge, they are in there for a cause, right? We have had a mentor who he's been the CHRO of a company in India, but then he's always following with us in respect to how we're doing and so on, even after we got out of MassChallenge, right? So I feel like you find great mentors on MassChallenge. Specifically, if you're looking for a sounding board for your the founding team, like let's say that if you're not able to find direction with respect to the direction in which you want to lead your team, right? I think this is places where the mentor team can help you a lot. For example, one of our cohort members, Untitled, I feel I think so they're working the solar industry, and just in the first week of the MassChallenge, they got to speak to the head of energy department, I feel, of USA. That was a great opportunity. In just the first 1 week, they realized that what was the key issues with their startup, and it was very phenomenal for them. I mean, it changed they had to pivot, but the insight was very valuable, right? They could have gone for 2-3 months without realizing these issues, and that would have been not so good for them. But then they were able to realize that because they were able to reach so high. Right? So I think so. Again, it's a platform where the benefits you get will depend upon how willing you are to leverage the resources, right? So I feel that's what I would say, right? That's right, Madison.
I agree.
Yes, it's a resource. It's like a plethora of services. It's a plethora of resources, but it's like it's like services on a table. You got to go and pick it up, and you also have to understand what you want to do with it. But that's where MassChallenge also will help you, right? They'll help you how to leverage the resources. They keep giving you help. For example, I was lucky to have Kate as the pod head, or what they were called. Like she was leading our pod, and I was lucky to have her as in my pod, and he always helps us out, and they're always ready to listen to you, right? I feel like it's a great experience, right? I feel like you all have to be part of MassChallenge once if you're an entrepreneur, right? That's what I feel, honestly. It's like an experience. So
thank you, Bharavi. I think one of the best pieces of a little nugget that you said there too is that MassChallenge is really aimed at supporting the founder and helping the founder develop and be a strong leader to support the startup that they have put together and the team that they are building. And we actually have a phrase at MassChallenge that's love the problem and not the solution. And I think the Undesert example that you gave, where the founder within their first week at MassChallenge was told by a very large organization that their idea and their solution didn't quite solve the problem that they were looking to solve. And not only that, it wasn't a solution that would be well adopted by the industry. And so what they did is really helped that team pivot and find a new solution to better fit that challenge. And I know the Undesert team has then since launched a large funding round. I think they did crowdfunding for a little bit with one of our partners, Fundify. But I think what you said too, just about the amount of support that you are given as an individual founder through the curriculum, through the peer-to-peer pods, as we call them, where it's kind of a small group of peers that you're working with, and through the mentors that are available and ready and completely voluntarily give their time and expertise to help support founders. Thank you for all of that. That was so helpful in just understanding from a founder's perspective what to look for in a MassChallenge program. And if you're looking to apply to a MassChallenge program, the different ways that you can engage and find resources that really meet and are catered to your goals. I do want to leave time if anyone has any questions for myself or Bharavi on MassChallenge, the founder journey. I specifically work in the New England market and also across our US programs. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about that as well in terms of convening entrepreneurs and innovators. And feel free to throw the question in the chat, come off mute and ask. We've got a small group, so happy to answer things live. No questions? I don't believe that. I think someone has a question.
Hi, my name is Samantha. Thank you so much for your presentation. I just had a quick question about your mentorship opportunities that you mentioned. So you mentioned that you were given a mentor right from the beginning, but if your business challenges change or kind of the stage that you're in, you need different mentors, like how would that process go about?
Awesome question. So we actually approach mentorship in a few different ways. And over the past 2-ish years, we've been working with a researcher at MIT to better understand what makes a productive mentor-mentee match at different stages of the early stage journey. So one of the ways that we've done that is we've actually developed an algorithm with MIT to help match startups and mentors and recommend mentors that might be a good fit for you and the challenges that you're at the beginning of the program. So we'll run that algorithm and we'll send you a list of mentors within our network that might be a good fit and recommend that you reach out to them, you meet with them, and see for yourself if that's someone that you'd want to work with to meet challenges. That said, we have a network of over 4,000 experts, and we have a community directory where experts can indicate whether they have an interest in being a mentor. So you can actually meet with any mentor to touch on different challenges that you are facing. So we actually see probably most startups have 2 to 5 mentors. Some go to the extent of up to 10. I think that's a bit much to be really focused in 4 months. That's a lot of opinions at the table. But a lot of times a founder will find mentors that meet different needs of their company. So they'll have an overall sounding board mentor that can help give them general advice. If they're looking to grow marketing, they might choose someone with an expertise in marketing to help them and guide them and connect them with resources that they may need. Bharavi, how many mentors did you end up having last year?
I think so. We had about 5, which is actually on the highest side.
Yeah, I think that rings pretty much true. And then there's also mentors that offer office hours. So if you just want to drop in and talk to someone in the finance industry about your finances, you also can do that. So a couple different ways.
Great, thank you so much.
Samantha, thanks for asking that question because I didn't realize that that's how you did mentor matching. And here at Northeastern, that's not challenging, but it's a big undertaking for some of our mentoring programs is to do the mentor matching. So it's really interesting to see how you've approached that, Madison.
Yeah, it's been really great. And we are still learning too. And it's an ongoing research project that we're doing. And we've also launched in partnership with Mass Tech, a small mentorship program for scaling founders. And in that one, we've actually found a bit different findings of founders at the scaling up phase where they're learning how to customize their offerings, really growing at an exponential rate, actually need a bit of a different type of mentorship. It's more of that sounding board and having someone that's less specialized, but more can advise on a broader scale. Because when you're scaling up, you probably already have a board of advisors, board of directors, you have several mentors that are all giving you information. So having one mentor that can help you sift through the noise and the and really help you refine your go-to-market strategy is actually more important than the more focused mentors. So it's been an interesting research study that we've been undergoing, and we're learning a little bit each and every day.
Great. Does anyone else have any other questions for Madison or anybody else? And if you don't have any questions now, Madison, could they reach out to you directly going forward? With any questions?
Absolutely. I'm going to put my email in the chat, but if you can remember my name and remember MassChallenge, you are pretty golden, because my email is just madison@masschallenge.org. And if anyone has a startup currently that's in that early stage and is interested in applying to the MassChallenge US early stage programs, like I said, those applications are live now through April 20th. And over the course of the next month or so, we'll have a variety of different information sessions. I believe it's tomorrow. We might have one with a panel of our partners from the International Space Station. I think one from MITRE and a few others who will talk about how they work with startups through our partnerships team. Let me actually check the date on that. Oh, I misspoke. That's not till April 14th. But we do. We have a fireside chat coming up tomorrow on March 24th. So I can send the link to that as well if you're interested in learning more about how we work with our partners. But all of those links can be found in that first URL that I sent over.
Great. And that just knowing that Northeastern is also a MassChallenge partner in our own way. So if anyone is looking to apply, please let anybody in the ecosystem know that you've applied, because we're all working together to look at those applications from our Northeastern startups. So Wendy, Ian, and Gwen Corner, and all of the other program leaders. So let us know, keep us posted. So, all right.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much. We can stop recording.